gods envy us. They envy us because we're not mortal, because we are mortal, because any moment may be our last. Everything is more beautiful because we're doomed. You will never be lovelier than you are now. We will never be here again. Brad Pitt and Troy. We'll come back to that later. According to dictionary.com, dictionary.com describes death as a termination of all biological functions that sustain an organism. It is when consciousness is permanently lost and ceases to exist. We avoid the topic of death in several ways. When possible, we avert those who have suffered a loss. We create mechanisms to elude the realities of death. And sometimes we evade the responsibilities that fall upon us from passing away. Death can be an overwhelming and terrifying concept to come into terms with. But even so, it is a reality we must learn to, first, to share, second, to accept, and lastly, to be prepared for. Death is viewed as a sensitive topic because those who have suffered a loss are often viewed as fragile. A concern shared by many that encircle a grieving person is that the loss of a lost one may make that person unhinged or unstable. It's not always easy to know how to talk about dying. Awkwardness, embarrassment, and fear means we tend to shy away from connecting with those that are grieving. But when we don't talk about what matters, it increases the feelings of isolation, loneliness, and distress. According to The Last Dance, Encountering Death and Dying by Lane Ann Dispelder and Albert Lee Strickland, a common model of mourning is composed of 4 tasks. 1, accept the reality of the loss. 2, process the pain of the grief. 3, adjust to a world without the deceased. And 4, find an enduring connection with the deceased in the midst of embarking on a new life. The main question that comes to most of our minds is, how do we help those that are grieving? Well, Megan Devine, a clinical counselor and author of Everything Is Not Okay, an audio program for grief, gives us some good tips and examples. One is that grieving belongs to the griever. You have a supporting role, but not the central role in finding your friends grief. This grief belongs to your friend. Follow his or her lead. 2, stay present and state the truth. It's tempting to make statements about the past and the future when your friend's present holds so much pain, but stay present with your friends, even when the present is full of pain. Generalized platitudes aren't helpful. Stick with the truth, like this hurts, I love you, I'm here for you. 3, do not try to fix the unfixable. Your friends and loss cannot be fixed or repaired or solved. The pain itself cannot be made better. It's an infallible relief to have a friend who does not try to take the pain away. Anticipate, don't ask. Offer your assistance and follow through with your offers. Don't say, call me if you need anything, because your friend probably won't call. Not because they don't need help, but because they have difficulty identifying the need, figuring out who might feel that need, and making a phone call to ask is sometimes beyond their energy levels, capacity, or interest. Do the recurring things. The actual heavy, real work of grieving is not something that you can do or help with, or you do yourself. But you can lessen the burden of normal life requirements for your friend. Support your friend in small, ordinary ways. Help them take out the trash, bring in their mail, walk their dog. These things are tangible evidence of love and support. As Megan Devine states, show up, say something, do something. Be willing to stand beside the gaping hole that's opening your friend's life, without flinching or turning away. Be willing to not have any answers, to listen, to be there, to be present. We are so afraid of death. We are so afraid of death that consciously and unconsciously we devote our resources to maintaining and prolonging our lives, all the while aiming to eliminate any threat. Wait, that is messed up. Should have known it. Okay. All right. Next, I want to talk to you about accepting death. In The Last Dance, the Spelder states that because death is always a possibility for us, fear of death is built into human life. To cope with this fear, we erect defenses against death awareness. Defenses that are based in denial and include irrational belief in personality, in being personally special, as well as in an irrational belief in an ultimate rescuer. Spelder talks about terror management theory, which suggests that people learn to assuage their fears of death by finding meaning in life and valuing themselves. This basically means that people find ways to occupy themselves, to deny death, resulting in acts of where people try to make accomplishments. Going back to Achilles in the movie Troy, everybody can see how he was trying to put his name, make a mark in history. In that way, we're all occupy ourselves and deny death in that manner. Another thing about death is, according to Commonwealth Fund.org, says that the United States alone spends 17.1% of its GDP in healthcare and around $9,000 per person a year. So another way that we keep ourselves occupied is by trying to stay healthy. Here I have some charts where it shows figures. Of course, that's one kind of behavior that's positive, but there are other negative, dangerous behaviors that arise from this. Ernest Becker, the initiator of terror management studies, addresses 4 strands of emphasis relevant to terror management theory. 1, the world is a terrifying place. 2, the basic motivation for human behavior is the need to control our basic anxiety to deny the terror of death. 3, because the terror of death is so overwhelming, we conspire to keep it unconscious. And most important, 4, I find the most important, is our heroic projects aimed at destroying the evil have a paradoxical effect of bringing more evil into the world. We are able to focus on almost any perceived threat, whether of people, political or economic ideology, race, religion, and blow it up psychologically into a life and death struggle against ultimate evil. And this is the dynamic of spiralizing violence that characterizes so much of human history. We're afraid of death, consciously and unconsciously, so we devote many of our resources to maintaining and prolonging our lives, all the while aiming to eliminate any threats that could lead us to an already inevitable death. So the last points that I would like to talk to you about is the responsibility of dying. Because most of us are in denial when it comes to our mortality, we tend to avoid legal and financial responsibilities related to end of life. According to the National Hospice and Palliative, few people like to plan their own death. Personally and financially is very important, a very important part of your life. The most important documents are advance directive, the will, living trust, and funeral and body disposition arrangements.
Let's start the conclusion.
Okay. All right. In the end, even though death is a sensitive topic, it is important that we learn to manage our fear of it, so that we can support those that are going through the mourning process, accept that we have limitations, that everything has an end, so that we can focus on living life in the present, and to learn to prepare for the end so that our death can be a pleasant experience rather than a burden on those who leave behind. I'll leave you with a quote by Daniel Callahan from Hard Choices for 11 People. How we die will be an expression of how we wanted to live, and the meaning we find in our dying is likely to be at one with the meaning we have found in our living. A person who has learned how to let life go may have not only a richer and more flexible life, but also one that better prepares him for his decline.